Remember this game? Age of Empires 3? Actually, it's been renamed because I'm pretty sure they lost the license. But it's a game made by Eagles Games. It was the first game that Eagle Games made. Well, actually, they renamed themselves the Tropical Games, which wasn't a giant war game. It looks like a war game. I mean, you got all these cool, miniatures. You want to fight a war with it, but it's not. It's more of a worker placement game, and it's actually a very fun historical one. Now there's an expansion for it.
The Builders expansion.
I wasn't expecting this expansion at all, so I was quite surprised to get it, but I was pleased because this is one of my top 100 games, and I'm always willing to play more.
It's got a block with a creepy head in it.
Yeah, but
on the back.
That is creepy. What does that mean?
He's chiseling it out. It's like going to be a statue or something, probably.
The
Builder's working hard.
All right. The first thing that this expansion adds are a bunch of new buildings, but it also adds in all the old buildings so that you don't get, so that you can't tell the new ones from the worn out ones, I guess. I don't know. So you can now get rid of your old buildings. So yay for that, I suppose. It's always good to have new stuff. So out with the old, in with the new. Now these new buildings, there's actually some pretty cool new buildings, and let's take a focus at some of them. We have the New World City here, which adds a new builder each turn. We'll talk about builders in a second. Spoils of War. Now, Spoil of War tiles, they don't cost like a building normally costs. For example, buildings cost 10 in the first age. You don't have to pay 10 to take this one. It just gives you any 2 specialists. So you might go there. It's intriguing, these Spoils of War. Here you get a free merchant ship. Overpopulation. You can place 3 colonists in any colony. That can be a really big deal. Especially in the beginning of the game. Magellan, from now on, your captains count as 3 in the discovery box. I like that quite a bit because it makes the captains much more useful. New World Mission, you get an extra missionary return. More Spoils of War in H2, take $7. Now this one's a really fun one. You and another player each place 2 free colonists. So you put 2 free colonists out somewhere in the New World, but you have to pick another player. So this adds a bit of wheeling and dealing to the game, which I guess if it bothers you too much, we had to argue, can you pay the person? What were the rules and how you deal with this to let him do this with you. Different groups, but you could just take this tile out of the game, I suppose. Reformation, your missionaries. If you get a missionary there first, everyone else's missionaries do nothing in that area. Nice and thematic. More Spoils of War, 2 free trade goods. Another extra builder per turn. And this is probably my favorite new building, the Mayflower. If you get this one, you can use your merchant ships that you get, those wild trade goods, and you can use them to transport colonists to the New World. No more spots on the colonist ships. Send them on your trade ships. That is a neat thematic. It's cool. Then some more third age. We got the Age of Reason, where you get 4 victory points per colonist on a specialist track at the end of turn 8. Now, you know that nobody goes on that specialist track at the end of turn 8. It is a barren wasteland. But if you have this, you have a reason to go there now, and you can get quite a few points from doing it. You can rewrite history. Take a discovery tile from 2 different players. You thought you discovered Canada? Think again. And then 4 victory points for every discovery you have. There's some other buildings that I did not mention. But one of the things I like now is the fact that there's so many buildings in that you're not going to see all of them per game, and so you can't count on any one particular building to show up. We have the purple color, so another player in the game, and then you also have a new piece that's in all the different colors. This is the builder. When the builder is sent to the New World and he goes to a region, he adds to the points that are in that region. He'll add 4 points to the person who controls a region and 2 points to second place, which can really change. And each builder adds exponentially. And it's not, if a yellow builder goes here but purple controls that area, then purple gets those extra points due to that builder. The only way to get builders are from those 2 buildings I just showed you, or by going here to the specialist box and paying the $5 to take anyone you want and taking a builder. So you won't see the game flooded with builders. Then one more feature of the game that comes in this expansion. Depending on what color you take, and I guess that doesn't really matter, but you can pick what country you're going to start with, and each country has basically a special ability or a building that they can start with. So for example, Spain can choose either to get $5 every time they successfully discover something, or to get 1 soldier per turn. Holland can take an extra captain or an extra merchant per turn. Great Britain can take 2 extra colonists per turn, or take $1 from every other player each turn. The Italian states get $1 for every 2 trade goods, or 1 extra merchant. Portugal can reduce the Native American rating for each discovery by 1, or they can take an extra captain per turn. And France can take an extra. They get an extra colonist every time they newly discover a colony, or an extra missionary. These are great, and people are going to really like this addition to the game. So that's what you get: builders, special powers, and new buildings, and the purple color. All right, let's talk about the things that this expansion adds and see what we think of them. Okay, first, the purple people. I like purple, yay. It's another color, yay.
Yay.
Okay, the builders themselves. They're very interesting. They add a dynamic to the game. They make the controlling a territory much more powerful.
Right.
If you send a builder out, you better be prepared to control that territory.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it changes a whole lot in the way the game is played.
Yeah, but if you get one of those buildings that gives you a builder per turn,
yeah,
that really can change the whole face of the seafloor, because you have to figure out what to do with these guys. Now, you could not send them to the New World.
Right.
You can. The one thing that the builder do, I didn't mention when I went over the rules, is you can put a builder out to lower the cost of a building by 5. Now, you wouldn't do that if you're buying the builder for 5. That's kind of a waste. But if you get one every turn, well, then the builder becomes really handy. And I wouldn't even be sending them to the New World. I'm buying as many buildings as I can.
Right.
So, builders are cool. They're a game changer to some degree. But, I wouldn't buy the expansion just for them.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I don't think it changes the game as much as Tom might think it does. However, I do think that they can. I'll put it that way. But you have to focus on them. And if you get that one building, like you said, yes, of course, then that would change the game. But the game that we played, I don't think it changed the game terribly much. Maybe a smidge, but I really didn't feel a huge difference with the builders with the expansion.
Then the new buildings. Now, the new buildings I've already talked a little bit about. I love that Mayflower one that lets you use your ships to send people to the New World. The buildings that just give you something, that's a neat concept because you don't have to pay for them. Like, you can just get $7.
Right.
The other buildings, the one that gives you 4 points for having a guy in each area, I'd say that won me the game I got that one, because the deal was that's 20 points for me, and the only way I wouldn't get those points is if someone stops me. And to stop me, they're just stopping me.
They don't
get anything out of it. However, if you concentrate on that, you might not win anything else.
Right.
I think these cards make the game a little meaner. The rules are pretty clear, except on that one building where you get 2 people and your opponent also gets 2 people, and the rules were a little unclear on what the negotiation allowable is.
Right.
Like, we played with a hardcore Eurogamer who thought, he said if the rules don't say it, you can't negotiate it.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering, can you say, well, if you do this, then on turn 6 I won't do this? I don't care. Just the rules should have clarified what we could or not do.
Yeah, it should have said something about, if it didn't want you to negotiate, then it should have said, don't negotiate. So I'm one of the ones that was said, as long as it says you can't do it, you should be able to. For the most part. I know that's probably going to come back to bite me here in the next few weeks, but don't
move your pawn there.
Yeah, right. So
and I'll give you $1.
So I liked the new buildings. I think that was they were good additions.
Well, I'm a big fan of the fact that the buildings themselves, now you don't know that they're all going to be in the game.
Yeah.
So you can't plan for a specific building.
Right, and there's a little bit more of a randomness because the merchant ship card never came.
That's right.
The merchant ship card never came. So.
Then the last thing is the special powers for the countries. Awesome.
Yes.
I love any game that gives you a variable power. They seem balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had the Spanish get the extra soldier return. Mm-hmm. That was cool. And then that kind of gave me a strategy to start the game out with. Okay, I'm going to go and just try to conquer the new world.
Yeah.
What was your thing that you had?
Mine was the Portuguese. You get a captain in the discovery spot every turn.
Yeah. Now that's a neat thing to have too, because that let him discover more areas.
Right.
So,
which were promptly taken over by everybody else.
Well, what do you think of the original game? With that, before the expansion, what was your thoughts?
Well, it was enjoyable. I liked it a lot. I mean,
We've played it several times over the years.
Yes, we have, and it has a very strong historical feel to it. That's one of the reasons I liked it, because that's exactly what it is. It's all of the European countries coming over and discovering the Americas. So I liked it simply because it had a very strong historical theme to it, and it seemed to follow pretty closely how history actually unrolled. But this added to it. It did its job. Time will tell if it added enough to have some sea legs on it.
Yeah, I love the base game. This is good. It doesn't change the game so that I don't like it.
Right.
It's just kind of more of the same. Mm-hmm. More of the same is good. The player powers, love them.
Yes.
The purple player, well, whatever. It's another set of pieces, and you already could buy the 6th player as it was. Mm-hmm. But there's enough stuff going on now. This is still my top 100. This is a good, solid expansion. You don't need it, but it's worth getting. So I'll give it a builder's thumbs up. That doesn't even make any sense.
What's the difference between a builder's thumb and a regular thumb?
I chiseled a thumb out of stone and hold that up.
Okay, well, I'm going to say...
Thumbs down!
I'm going...
A shock twist.
I'm going to say a hammer and a chisel up. There you go.
That would have been simpler.
Yes, it would. Because it's kind of like 1.5.